What's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing today?
What's up? What's up?
All right, so it's your boy Prism God, and
Kobe, collector, KB81.
and today's topic today is basically, we got a lot of stuff going on in the world right now. I don't
Got a
even
whole
want to say the
bunch.
topic yet. Should I say the topic?
Man, we got a whole bunch going on in the world, man. It's a fitting topic.
I mean, I had friends who didn't even want me to talk about this.
Yeah, why?
I mean, it's kind of controversial, so it's kind of like one of those things where people is gonna wonder, like I might lose followers. it's like so I mean I guess I could talk I could tell you today's topic today is politics and in the sports cars industry. It's really interesting. Shout out to the one follower that's on right now, but basically it's politics in the sports cards industry. So I have friends who really did not want to want me to talk about this topic today. Like, I mean, I know we're dealing with something that's going on right now where we're trying to figure out who our president is going to be for the next 4 years. But I think it's important to talk about for the culture.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we see it now, right? So, I mean, I know it's controversial, but we're going to be controversial today, and it was just a
Mhm.
fitting topic for the climate that we're in, right? So,
Yep.
I mean, I think what kind of sparked it, right? And we talked about it, when we brainstormed a little bit and we bounce ideas off each other, what we want to talk about in this podcast. The thing that really kind of sparked it for me is I was scrolling past something. I think it was on Facebook, and I think Braun came out and said that DK was baby Braun, and somebody was like, "Man, just like shut up and dribble a basketball." And that's just something that's been resonated in sports. And I think we've talked about, hey, with the whole BLM thing that's going on in the NBA and around the world, and LeBron coming out and speaking his voice on it, did that affect his card prices, right? So in reality, after he wins his fourth championship, what were his card prices supposed to do? And I get that the card market oversaturated itself with everything that kind of came into the population, but he was already seeing a downward trend 20% before the championship was over, man. So, like I said, I think that kind of went backwards. And the only thing that we can really attribute that it was him trying to have a voice on what was going on, in the world.
Yeah, I made a comment on that post. It's funny that you say that. I made a comment on that post. I think you had liked that post when I had turned around and said that, you know, um, basically my stance on it is, LeBron is probably arguably one of the greatest basketball players of all time. If he was to come about and say, "Hey, look, this guy is just as good as me," if I was playing football, I'd probably say, "You know what? You're probably absolutely right." I mean, athletic build wise, LeBron James is probably one of the best athletes of all time. He probably might be second to maybe Wilt Chamberlain.
Bill
Um,
Russell said, "Man, I was a triathlete, that deck athlete in the Olympics, man." He said you can't cross him off the list.
well, there you go. So Bill Russell's arguably in there too, but what I mean, I never got a chance to see those guys play. I got a chance to see LeBron James play, and for him to do what he's accomplished and not and remain to be healthy is to me tremendous. And going into his 36, he's 36 years old, and I hope to get a chance to see him get his fifth and sixth championships before he retires. I think that he's one of those guys that can say whatever he wants. I mean, if Michael Jordan said it, do you think Michael Jordan gets the same claim?
Well, like I said, we didn't have Twitter, we didn't have Facebook, we didn't have Instagram, we didn't have anything that's going around today, and I think that hurt some players, and that helped some players out in some cases. And I think we even stemmed the tide a little bit more when we said religion, right? So look at
Yeah,
what Tim Tebow sells for, right? Because he's a huge religious person, and I
yeah,
mean, realistically, on the football field, he wasn't that good. He's probably the greatest college scheme quarterback that was probably
yeah.
ever he was in college football. But as far as NFL, he wasn't that good.
No, I can agree with you. I can agree with you. I don't know, man. Like this topic, I mean, just so you guys know, I mean, for all the watchers and all the listeners that are out there, just so you guys know, neither one of us are politicians. I'm not
Nope.
running to be mayor. I'm not running to be the next president or anything like that. So just to be very clear, these are all opinionated statements here. So all of us are just kind of speaking our mind and probably thinking what the average person is probably thinking. So this is kind of coming from the average person. I don't necessarily know every single thing that's going on here. But I like to kind of like, it's some thoughts, these are just thoughts that are resonating through my mind and probably your mind as well. And we talked about, we kind of want to break this thing down in 3 different segments, and one of them was the sports card world as a whole, and we did talk about religion. And then I guess we wanted to talk about like another thing I kind of want to talk about by the end of the show is, will the presidency affect the hobby? So like, it's one thing to be vocal about your stance on, politic, policies or whatever, or I'm not sure how to say it, but basically your stance in that world is like, how will it affect the hobby going forward? And we're going to talk about those things today, I think, as we continue to kind of like speak our thoughts.
Yeah, so I mean, another thing that we talked about, right? So the big thing with these two candidates, and I mean, I've been watching NBC, Fox all dang day trying to see who our next president is going to be, and I mean, it's either you want greater economy or you want, social justice and that rhetoric that's going on in that aspect of it. There's the whole COVID stuff. So I mean, if you go one way, and you're like, oh, I want the better economy, right? What does that do to our industry, right? And then you go to the flip side, and it's not saying if one candidate wins and the other candidate wins, then the economy is going to go down the drain. But you keep hearing that, that was going to be the case, right? So in the short term, what does it do, right? If the incumbent stays in there, it's business as usual. But then what fluctuation is going to come if Biden comes in and takes over the seat? Which, I mean, it might be the case. I mean, he's almost there. What does that do to the hobby? Does everybody try to sell out and everything becomes cheap? And is it a buy market, or is it going to continue to be a hold on to your stuff because it's going to keep on inflating?
I know one of the things that me and you we specifically talked about is the fact that there's so many new people in the hobby right now, so people don't really know how to gauge what's going on in the market right now. So there's a lot of different things that play the key into why LeBron James had kind of tanked, so to speak. So if you're new to the hobby and you seeing things, if you bought a LeBron James Topps Chrome in like January, February, and you're new to the hobby, right? You probably bought a Topps Chrome PSA 10 maybe for $7,000, and then you turn around and sold it for $17,000. You're wondering why, like, hey, you just want a ring. Why is it $10,000 right now? It doesn't make any sense. Well, it's a lot of things that happen here, right? So we know we have the things going on in America with with COVID. We have these new collectors, and there's a lot of new collectors. They're kind of worried. They're kind of getting frustrated. They're like, I don't know what to do. Like, I literally had one guy who went to a show with me the last time, and he said to me, hey, look, man, I think I overheld. I shouldn't have held these cards as long as I did. Man, I should have sold these a long time ago. And I remember me and you had a conversation. What I was reading in the market was, I think I need to sell my LeBron James, and I think I can pick him up cheaper. I don't know what it was that triggered me to push for it, but I felt like, because of all these new collectors, I felt like it was an opportunity for me to sell the cards I had, rebuy them, and I was absolutely right, to be completely honest with you. You're able to right now pick up LeBron James for 50% of what you probably sold it for a peak. Yeah. And that's crazy, right?
Yeah. I mean, but there's not too many players that happens with, right? And I think it became the availability. I mean, I know that kills, and I mean, you can try to tie it to this and that, but I mean, the topic today was politics and sports, and so we're trying to figure out if that maybe had an effect on the overall profitability on those cards, man. But in reality, there's a lot of different factors, and maybe it was a perfect storm, right?
Yeah.
Maybe it was just, hey, people knew that he was about to win, and so it inflated all the prices. And then you had some people thinking, well, it can't stay this price forever. And then what you see, like in on eBay, right? If you want to go look at comps between like September to October to November, you can see it go up, and then you can see it come down. But what I constantly see, and it's probably one of the things that bugs me the most in the hobby, right, is undercutting sales, right?
Yeah.
And then people getting desperate, and then they hop on eBay. They see that a car went for 800, right? They see that there's a lot of cards on eBay for $1,000 of that same card, and they're like, "Man, I really need money." But if I put it up on the market with 5 other cards that are $1,000, the only way for me to compete is A, if I sell it for under what the last comp went for, and B, under what everybody else is selling it for, and then you get 700. And then the next person comes and does 600, and then the next person comes and does 500. So I mean, there's a lot of panic sales in sports that kills comps.
Well, you know what though? What's crazy about this idea, right? Is people would do that with if you compare the card industry to like the stock market, you typically probably wouldn't do that if you're thinking about companies like Apple or Amazon or Google. So if you think about investing into Apple, Amazon, Google, Tesla, right? If you think about these companies, right, you're not going to undercut yourself on those companies. At the end of the day, like you got to think of people like LeBron, Kevin Durant,
Jordan,
Kobe, Steph Curry, these other players that are out there who've already created and established themselves in the market, right? How can you can't even justify them going down, right?
No.
So the reality is if they go down, it's like, oh, okay, well, there's no need to panic. I mean, if the market was up at one point in time, it's going to get back up again. Now, the real question is trying to figure out how long it's going to take to get back up. And that's one of those things that I don't know if I have the answer to, but hopefully we can kind of, figure it out all together as a unit with everybody here with us that's online. If you have any questions or concerns, whether it be Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, all my people who are following us here, we can come up with some solutions that may work. I know, like I said, I dumped a lot of LeBron James at one point in time, but it's kind of I read the signs, I got out, and then I didn't get completely out because there's certain things that you can't replace. Like to me, we talk about a lot of time is I actually one of the upcoming YouTube shows this weekend is supposed to be cards that are like what do you call them? Like the cards that you kind of like the Topps card, right? The Topps Kobe Bryant card. What do you consider that? Like a
a staple?
Yeah, like a staple type of card, right? But that's actually not the name that I use for the YouTube show. I just can't think right now. But basically, cards like that have like iconic cards, right? They won't go down in value long term. They'll actually probably end up going up. And if you look at certain things like a LeBron James gold number to 99 out of Topps Chrome, stuff that's so rare that the average person can't even attain, those things will never go down in value. Yeah. So it's like, so when you think about that from an aspect of like, you can't even find half the rare LeBron James cards out there.
So you're saying that it's more supply and demand rather than any other. I mean, I think that there's a lot of contributing factors, but I mean, maybe scarcity and supply and demand goes into what these are happening, right? So look at what happened with the Topps Kobe rookie card, right? Mm-hmm. So it came out, his stuff started going up along with, LeBron and Jordan. And so his stuff shot up, right?
Right.
And then what did everybody do? They rushed to BGS. They rushed to PSA.
Correct.
They graded all this stuff and they saturated the market, right?
Correct.
I think the high point for a PSA 10 Kobe rookie card, regular, not the Chrome, got to like $5,200.
It was like 6,000. I thought it was up to 6,000.
And so, I mean, at that point, everybody was trying to grade, get a PSA 10, sell it, get that 6,000, right? And now you got a lot of people with $6,000 Topps rookie cards, and
Correct.
Then it hit the peak. And so now it started to drop, and then you have panic sellers, and now you're all the way back down to $2,000, right? Now, is the $2,000 a realistic price point for that card, or is it $6,000? And I think he does have a couple more jumps, but we'll see how long it takes to get back to that level.
What's the thing is, all right, so going back to our original reason why we're talking about our discussion today is politics in the hobby. So is it because people are scared because, we got a lot of new people in the hobby? So I'm going to be completely honest with you. And I'm going backwards a little bit off a conversation. How much money did like the government give us to kind of play with. First of all, we're at home, we're twiddling our thumbs, right? And then Uncle Donnie comes through and says, "Hey man, you know what? I'm gonna bless you guys with another $5,000-$10,000. Go do whatever you want." And we're all twiddling our thumb. We're like, "What are we gonna do with this money?" Like, and if you're somebody like me, we're thinking to myself, like, "Well, what can I invest my money in?" You know?
Yeah.
And then and we all kind of got to that point to where we were reliving our fantasies, our dreams, you know, growing up. Oh man, you know, you get all this type of money in a lump sum, and then you see that the hobby was all, being honest with you, before Uncle Donnie threw out that check, right? The hobby was already getting to the point to where we were about to see an all-time high. I predicted that Zion would get to $1,000 this year.
Yeah.
Like that was why
he got close.
He got real close. $850 was like peak, right?
Yeah.
So at $850, I missed about $150. If he made the playoffs, he was $1,000.
Yeah, easy.
If he made the playoffs,
right?
easy $1,000 if he made the playoffs. That never happened. So with that being said, like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, is it safe to say that what's going on in the economy does affect the hobby? I mean, I want you guys to talk to me. I got 4 people watching this right now. Feel free to drop something in the chat if you like to. I can throw something on the screen here if you guys have any questions or concern or some things. Because I'm not a politician, and if somebody's out there, who knows more about what's going on in the world, I'll pop you up on the screen here. We can talk about it and go from there.
Yeah. So the other thing too, what was I about to tell you, man? Man, I just lost my train of thought, man. You got me. I got sniped for my train of thought there, man. But I was gonna ask this. So you're saying that Zion would have got up to 1,000, right?
Yeah.
They weren't gonna let Morant get that far behind, so he probably would have been trending around 600 to 750. 600, right?
I think so. Yeah.
So what if right? We're gonna play the what if game here. What if the Grizzlies make the playoffs?
Yeah.
Actually, did they? Hold on.
No, they didn't. They didn't. They had to win 4 games. They lost them.
Portland won. Portland got in. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, Portland got in. So if the Grizzlies make the playoffs and Morant puts up 30 points with the game winner, what are his cards doing right now?
Well, if John Morant made the playoffs, obviously I think his cards would probably get to maybe $800. I don't know if he completely, goes side by side with Zion, because Zion still did put up 20 and 10 basically, or whatever. I don't remember the exact numbers. 24 points, like 7 8 rebounds a game. I mean, he put up some really good numbers and played really well versus some really good high class people. And going back to Cardboard Max, he actually says yes, the economy affects the hobby. So I'm gonna agree with what you're saying there. So going forward with whoever our next president is, and we know that that Uncle Donnie wants to move forward with moving on from COVID and trying to build back the economy. And Biden is kind of like saying, hold on, guys, we need to pump the brakes a little bit, and let's make sure this thing is over with. And imagine us going back to stage 1, where we're sitting at home, twiddling our thumbs. I mean, that's literally where we might potentially become January, February. I don't know what's going to happen. And I think so what Cardboard Max is saying is, yes, the economy affects the hobby. So are we going to get another check? Are we going to get a stimulus check? If Uncle Donnie's not the president, are we going to get more money? Like, we don't know. I really don't know what that answer is, but that's why we're here talking about it.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. And it's actually curious to see, right? Now, I'm not going to rush out and go dump everything, right? For bottom ceiling, bottom basement prices. That's not what I'm going to run out and do, right? I think that there's a couple more waves that are coming back, and I think that once we get into the more original kind of calendar of baseball, football, basketball, we get into that natural schedule of it all. I think then everything will kind of settle down a little bit, and then we'll start seeing a lot more growth. Because right now it's all over the place. It's chaotic.
It is.
Right. We're supposed to be we're already supposed to know. We're supposed to have the NBA draft already. It hasn't been done yet, right? We're already supposed to know who's going to be out in the boxes. So all the product for basketball has been pushed, right? Yeah. And it's forcing them to come out with new products, as we see with Clearly, which is a sick little acetate product that just came out.
I like it, but I feel you.
Yeah. So now we're getting re-inundated with old product. We've even seen Target and Walmart restock themselves with Mosaic basketball, right? So where did that wave of product come from, right? So I mean, I'm real interested to see where everything goes, right? I think for us as a hobby, I think I'd like for it to stay, prosperous, right? I like to stay on the current trajectory that it's at, and I don't want to I don't want to go backwards, right? I really don't.
I understand that. I'm the same way. I think, let's see, Cardboard Max seems to be pretty proactive. He actually says we need the basketball season to start as soon as possible so cards will go back up, which I think is a very basically the same thing you basically said. It's in order for us to continue to stay the course as a hobby, we need the NBA to start in December, right? At least before the next presidency comes in, right? And then they decide to change things or whatever the case may be, or whatever may happen. We don't know yet, right? So, and I'm going to backtrack a little bit more because I'm going to say this, that I believe that a lot of people that are new in the hobby are so panicky that they're dumping products that they don't need to dump. I think you need, like, just be completely honest with you, right? So, here's the thing. Every off season, there's always a drop in the market, right? There's always a dip in the market. So if you're new to the hobby, there's always going to be a dip in the market no matter what. Right now, baseball is off. Baseball's done, right? This is the perfect time to buy baseball right now, right? This is if you're big on baseball, buy baseball right now this second. If you're big on football, I probably don't know if I necessarily would go into football right now, but being honest with you, come playoff time, a lot of people will go up. I think Russell Wilson will be one of those guys will be good going up. Tom Brady's going to be another guy. And I'm going to give you some gems right now who I've been thinking about in my mind. But there's a handful of people who I think will have a really good playoff, right, for the hobby. And there's also basketball, right? We're waiting on basketball because it's been announced that it's going to start late December. The players are saying they're not ready in December. We don't know if they're going to play in December or January, but we know they're going to play within the next 2 months, right? So with that being said, you don't have a whole lot of time to buy your favorite players if you find out next week that Giannis is playing for the Warriors, right? So with that being said, I think that is even though the market is down, this is the perfect time to buy anybody that you're prospecting, anybody that you feel like is good, because Giannis is down, LeBron's down, Zion is down, not as high as he was. Ja's not as high as he was. Trey is not as high as he potentially going to be. And I know we talked about it in the last podcast as he's a buy. I'm hitting you guys with a lot of gems here who I feel like are good prospects to go after. So the reason why I backtrack was because I think it's important for you guys to know that don't panic. This is not a panic moment. This is a moment to keep pushing. If you spent $5,000 on a card, you offset that cost by buying that same card again for $2,500. And then you buy it again for $2,500. Then you buy it again for $2,500, or you buy it for $2,000 or $1,500. If you really sincerely believe it, and if you're buying LeBron James rookie cards for, I think I saw EX credential. I'm sorry, not an EX credential, but an EX LeBron James 9.5 on eBay today for $3,500 OBO. A PS, and it was a true Gem Plus. A PSA 10 of that card selling for like $7,000 to $8,000. Yeah, right, consistently. So if you're somebody who was looking at this as an area, we should all be looking at this as an area of opportunity to make as much money as possible. And also, yes, you're absolutely right. I'm trying to go back and forth between the comments there in the chat. So let's see. Cardboard Max actually says, I've heard Biden will give a bigger stimulus package with bigger than Trump. I'm not sure about that. Again, I have not read up on what he's saying. Another thing is Tri-State Collectibles actually says, I think Katie is the best buy on sports cards right now, personally. And I think you're absolutely right. He is on my buy list. I think what's crazy about that Tri-State is if you were buying him in January, we would have paid 30% of what they cost right now. Like literally, I use my eBay bucks to buy a raw Kevin Durant Topps Chrome rookie and 9.5'd it. I sold it for $600 and now it sells for $2,000. So how about that?
Hey, but man, we said it on the last podcast. You were happy with what you make, right? Hey, you got to be happy with your investments, man.
I'm not mad. I'm not mad whatsoever.
Hey, you always got to be happy with what you make, man, and let the next man make theirs, and then the next one make theirs, and that's the cyclical hobby of it all, man.
Correct.
But I'm ready to get back to natural seasons, right? I think that we're seeing right now, and I know you're not the biggest NFL guy, but you dabble on it a little bit. But what we saw this year, right, at the beginning, we saw a lot of big names go down early, right? A lot of big names, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, right? And then what that's done to the league in itself, you know, and now you're looking at the other, you know, future stars, which is kind of cool too, because there's some nice stars that are coming into it, man. But not having a preseason, not being able to have full OTAs, you have people that are getting hurt left and right, so it waters down the product a little bit. And then you have teams that are Jekyll and Hyde every week. I'm ready to get back to next season, man. I'm ready looking forward to next season, see what that brings, and see if there's some hidden gems hiding under some rocks.
Well, you know what? To piggyback off what you're saying, I'm actually, you know, I try to stay in my lane and stay in basketball, but I can definitely agree with what you're saying. I'm buying football quarterbacks right now. I think if you're buying Joe Burrow, if you're buying Jalen Hurts, I'm not sure about him 100%, but if you're buying Jalen Hurts and you're buying Justin Herbert and what's the other guy, Tua, if you're buying these quarterbacks, next year they're going to be on fire, right? Because ultimately, a lot of these teams are trying to figure out if these guys are the real deal. They figure out they're the real deal. They're going to add people to them. Next year is going to be hype. You'll be able to make money. So I know we're supposed to stick with politics and sports cards, but the whole point of this show is to really talk about cards. So that's what I'm talking about, cards, right? So with that being said, I think it's very important for us to, you know, go on piggybacking off what you said. I think buy the quarterbacks you like, buy as many as you can. And what pisses me off right now is the fact I can't buy Prism football.
Okay. Well, you know, they extended it again, right? So it's all the way to December now. They keep pushing back and pushing back and pushing back the releases because product isn't selling as quick as they anticipated it, right? Yep. So they're forcing all these resellers to buy up all the product that's on the shelf that hasn't sold before they release Prism, because once Prism gets released, everything is going to be put on the back burner. Everybody knows that, right? So I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, but see, for me, I was looking forward to buying Tua for $5 and throwing them in the back of my box.
That ain't gonna happen.
I mean, but I think if I would have bought Tua right now, I would have probably paid max $20, $30, maybe you think $50 raw.
So when Mosaic first hit, right?
Yeah,
you know his cards were doing $75, $80.
Okay, but what did they level out for a while before he started? Right? What did they start at?
They're 30, about 35. Yeah, 30, 35.
Yeah, okay, so what I'm saying is I would have bought Prism for $30. Or $20, I probably would have won a couple shows, bought them for $20 and kept it pushing. But see, John Doe said, let's talk about these insane prices of these sealed Panini boxes. Okay.
Supply and demand. I think it's supply and demand.
Right? I agree. New hobby, new players, more money.
Yeah, but you're going to see, right? And I know we're going to talk about second year Zion. We're going to talk about third year Luka, 19th year LeBron, you know.
Yep.
And I mean, I don't know what this draft class is. I haven't done enough homework with it.
Yeah.
Like we said on the last podcast, we did a lot of our homework for upcoming draft. We're using March Madness, right? Which we didn't have this year. Actually, wasn't the whole college basketball season canceled? I mean, you didn't see.
That's correct.
You didn't see any college basketball.
Yeah, we don't really know what we're dealing with when it comes to this NBA draft. Like my intention is to I'm giving you my blueprint, right? I'm gonna buy Prism basketball and not sell anything until I identify. Well, I did it for the most part. I had a lot of Prism basketball from this past year, so I had so much, right, that at the end of the day, I was able to sell it once, go through it again, and find more than what I had before.
Then go find your Bobo.
And then grade them, and then still make more money than I did before, because I was thinking to myself, when I was selling LeBron Lakers cards for $10, I'm thinking to myself, like, man, I hit the jackpot. This can't possibly get any better than this. I sold 30 of them. I sold 10 of them for $300. Oh, sorry, 30 of them for $300.
Yeah, and then they went up to $80 a card.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they've calmed down a little bit since then, man. But it was definitely, there was a little honey hole there, man. And some people are still holding on to them cards. And you know what? You know, it still might be a good idea to hold on to them, because I think that they'll get back up to $600 to $700.
Yeah,
Let's see.
All right, so see, Daniel, I'm trying to go through everybody on this chat because I appreciate you guys being proactive in the chat. So if you have any questions or concern or anything that we're talking about, feel free to drop a comment. If it's something that's relevant to what we're saying, I have no problem, hitting that show on the screen. So in this case, Daniel Busby says, "Man, it sucks. I went from getting a box a month in 2016 to I can't even buy a box now. Now I can only get boxes from Raz's." Well, guess what? So I'm in the same problem.
I'm in the same boat right now. Hey, and they probably,
baby.
and they probably don't know, but you went to Target right now, right? And I've actually kind of switched lanes a little bit and started to diversify my collection. And you walked in there, you showed me a picture of what they had, and I almost like spit up all my drink all over myself by the stuff that you showed me, man. And we almost wiped out the whole treasure trove that they had there at Target, man.
That's correct. So, all right. So, piggybacking off what you say, I ain't gonna lie to you. Let's see, Daniel Busby, you not being able to buy a box of cards is probably the biggest gift that Panini probably could have did to you, because realistically, you make more buying singles than you do buying boxes. That's a known fact to anybody who's investing into cards that are, who are buying and flipping. Because if you're buying the people you want, you're gonna probably spend less. Because the reality is, like, think about this. I bought what was it? 10 cases of retail blaster Zions. I pulled 30, right? I'm sorry, about 30 of them I pulled out of 10 cases. And relatively to what I could have sold the cases for, I could have bought Zion cheaper than me just buying the Zion. So
but there's a nostalgia, man. There's a nostalgia. There's a certain kind of high that
if you pull the number to 35 Zion, you're happy as hell.
And I think one of my first experiences that I had in the game, right, was being able to buy a box of Fast Break Prism and pulling a Zion out of I think it was out of Fast Break, a blue Zion out of $199, and I ended up selling it for like $2,500, and I only bought into that Raz and that break for like $50. So I was pretty happy about that, man. So like I said, there's no better feeling that really comes from that than being able to buy stuff like that, man. In my opinion. Yeah,
no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I want to buy a case of Donruss, the Donruss Clearly today, but unfortunately, $5,000 is a little out of the radar. So I'm probably going to join a couple Razes for the teams I'm interested in, and I think I'll be okay. Let's see. Tri-State Collectible says holding seal wax for incoming NBA class until we get some worthy chase guys. Seems like a solid play, as well as holding most of the stuff you pull. Absolutely. That's exactly what I was saying. I don't know, because we don't get a chance to see any college ball. We can't see any March Madness. And usually March Madness is where I find most of my guys I want to follow. And then Summer League is another time I get a chance to see the energy and how they, their game translates to the NBA. And since we don't have that, I think that's you got to see this one. I'm gonna put this on the board so you can see that one. So when it's all said and done, Tri-State, you're absolutely right. That's my game plan. To the 4 people who are actually listening, that's a good game plan to go with if you're buying. And I hope Prism actually is cheap and more affordable than it was this past year. So if that's the case, do it. It makes sense.
For sure.
All right, so Cardboard Max says, is anyone going to pay $1,000 for Prism football? You want to answer that question?
Yeah, I got a case coming in already, but it's a little under $1,000 a box.
All right, so so here's my prediction, right? Cardboard Max. By the time Prism football comes out, it's going to be more than $1,000.
Yeah, it's going to be about $1,200 to $1,400.
So there you go.
And it's going to drive the prices up, and you're not going to be able to pick it up on the secondary market for $1,000. So if you can find it for $1,000, I'd pick up whatever you can.
Yep. So just my 2 cents and Kobe Collector's 2 cents. Basically, $1,000 is nothing in the hobby anymore. It used to be, and now we're in a new hobby. We're in a new hobby right now.
It's a whole new world.
That's right. So let's see. What's the best price you guys ever pulled? Let's see. What's the best card you ever pulled out of a pack? I guess let's see. There you go. You want to answer what's the best card you ever pulled out of a pack?
It wasn't recent, right? We dabbled on it a little bit, on the last podcast. For me, I've been, of course, collecting cards for a while now. So in 2006, 2007, Exquisite basketball, which is a very high-end product at the time. It was $500 a pack for 5 cards. And in those days, that's a lot of money, right? It was $1,500 for 3 boxes. You can probably equate that to, some of the high-end products that are in there today. So my best pull ever is Michael Jordan, LeBron James, dual numbers piece out of 23. One of 23, to be specific. Still got a picture of it. The guy that I sold it to, I shout out to Tim, Exquisite Collector, probably one of the sickest exquisite collections out there now since Jim from Puerto Rico sold his off. But shout out to him. He still has it, man. It's probably a $100,000 to $150,000 card now. Man. I don't want to say what I sold it to him for, but it is pretty pricey now.
Well, for me, I'll say two. Most recently, I pulled the Color Blast Pat Mahomes one box. Me and Miss Prism Goddess, we went to a local show. She picked the box. We went home. We opened it on live on my Instagram. I pulled the Pat Mahomes Color Blast. Really epic pull. Did it on live. It was just a really special box. Then the other thing was I pulled out of a retail blaster box, Jason Dominguez green, number 299 auto. So those two were pretty cool pulls. Probably my biggest pull. Those are probably my biggest pulls that I've actually had, which is the crazy part, right? Let's see. It blows my mind. I got a case of Prism Fast Break last year for $3,000. And what's a case release? Let's see. What's a case at release going to be this year? $10K. So it blows my mind. I got a case. Let me put this on the screen here. So it blows my mind. I got a case of Prism Fast Break last year for $3,000. What's case? Well, are you talking about basketball? I'm assuming it's basketball, right?
Basketball. Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't think it's going to be
the release date on that too.
Yeah, I don't think it's $10K. I mean, it may be 4 or 5K, maybe. Mm-hmm. I mean, probably 4 or 5K.
It'll be $600 to $750 a box.
Yeah, I would assume.
But in that product, it's been like 20 boxes in that case.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's $15K.
And see, Cardboard Max says, I'm not sure what question we said, what comment we said to him. He says, "Wow, will that drive up the 2019 Prism football box?"
It's going down right now. It's trending down because the top quarterbacks that everybody were following or chasing after have gone down, right? Your Drew Locks, your Daniel Jones, your Dwayne Haskins got benched, right? So I have a lot of money into those guys that at PSA. PSA decay is real, but I got a lot of money into those guys right now, and that product has gone down. I mean, you saw it actually get up to like $1,400 at one time. You see all these breakers breaking at $1,400, and now it's down to like $900 again, man. So it'll probably drop a little bit more. But if Kyler Murray still keeps doing what Kyler Murray has been doing, then his prices will start shooting a little bit back up. You see that 2018 Prism has actually dropped as well. It went up to $1,800 a box, and now you can find it for $1,400. And so, and a lot of that has to do with Saquon Barkley getting hurt. A lot of that has to do with Baker Mayfield not doing as well as they wanted to. Sam Darnold not doing what he was supposed to. Lamar Jackson taking a step back. And not having the explosive season that they projected him to have. And I think a lot of that had to stem from losing to the Chiefs. So we'll see what happens, man. And a lot of this is again, a watered down product that we have right now because of COVID and because of people not being able to go to the stands and cheer on their teams. And, look how that affected, the baseball, playoffs. Some of these young pitchers came in without 100,000 fans screaming at them, on the road. How did that affect baseball playoffs? How did that affect basketball playoffs? So there's a lot of stuff that happens right now because of COVID and, the lack thereof.
That's absolutely right. All right. So John Doe, whoever John Doe is, says, Kobe Collector, what is your most valuable card?
Oh, man. Again, we can go back to the other podcast, man. All my high-end stuff is gone. I'm be honest with you, man. All of it is gone now. Right now, I think my highest card is a Pokemon Charizard that I got coming in. But outside of that, man, it's been pretty diluted, man. And I kind of like reconfigured my lane that I wanted to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and ask Prism Guy, man. He's gonna hit you with that $1 million card, man.
No, I'm being honest with you. I'm not 100% sure anymore, so I'm just gonna say that's my answer for right now.
Oh man, I know the two that it's out of, but
No, I don't. All right, as of right now, I'm going to say I don't know. But you never know, man. But one day, I'll save it for a YouTube show. Maybe I'll go over my cards one day, and that'll be about it for right now. But all right, so I guess we're gonna go back with the topic because I know we have about another 20 minutes of the show right now. Politics and sports. We kind of talked. We kind of went sidebar. I ain't gonna say we went sidebar, but we started answering a couple questions for everybody that's out there. How about how the presidency is going to affect the hobby? How will it affect the hobby directly? I think, being honest with you, I think we kind of covered that by saying that just don't, at the end of the day, we've been here before.
Yeah.
As a hobby, we've been here before. We've been through different presidencies. We've been through fueled hobbies. We've been through slow periods of time. I think if you can take anything from the most recent, was it LeBron James 9-5 that sold for $1.8 million? At the end of the day, when you have cards of that, if you're buying cards like that, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether at the end of the day, when you sell it, you'll get your just due on it, right? So, and I have another friend who owns the Anthony Davis Logoman. At the end of the day, if you buy stuff like that and you're holding on to cars like that, and he's got his first championship, he's on his way to maybe second or third championship. You're buying people like of that caliber who are who are basically the face of the league going forward. I don't think you can do any wrong. I mean, at this point, Anthony Davis is probably a Hall of Famer. LeBron's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Kobe's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Jordan's already a Hall of Famer, and so on and so forth. So when you're buying and investing towards these people, there's nothing to be panicky about. Just chill. That's the best. One of the best advices my friends tells me all the time is just chill. So regardless of who's going to become the next president, right? Just work around it. Just work around it. Just work around it. Be patient.
I hope we don't go back to stage one, man. I just hope that doesn't happen, man. And it's inching closer and closer to that being a realization. But I mean, it is what it is, man. This is a great country that we live in, and we're able to enjoy the things that make us happy in life. Sports cards it brings a lot of people joy. And again, you just got to pick and choose your battles and see what makes you happy. And hopefully you made the right investments that, hey, you don't lose your butt on it. Or you chose cards, you bought cards that you like, and whether or not they go up or down in price, you're still going to be happy at the end of the day.
Yep. Anybody that bought Pokemon definitely like Pokemon because I'm still clueless. I don't know. So here's another question then. So with Pokemon being on the rise, is it pure boredom or what's going on with the hobby to make? Because that's a world I'm not familiar with, and it's one of those things where, I mean, is it because the hobby's fueled? What happened here?
It's not boredom though, man. It's really not. It's nostalgia, right? It's the same reason why red stripe Levi's sell for $5,000 for torn up jeans, right? These are jeans that these people had when they were 10 years old and they couldn't afford them, right? You have people buying old game systems because it's what they played when they were growing up, as little kids, and maybe they couldn't buy that nice card, or maybe they were little and they watched Pokemon on TV and they bought all these cards and maybe couldn't afford it at the time, and now that they've grown up and they have money, it's driving it up. And a lot of that has to do the same thing with the card market, right? Yeah. There's been so many cards that I've seen that I might not have been able to afford back when I was collecting. What I actually afforded a lot of cards, and had a pretty good collection there. But right. I mean, there's some people that were in that boat that says, "Hey, this is the card that I made it once I got this card," and it might not have been an expensive card, but it was like, man, I wanted that card when I was younger. Now I got it. Now I made it.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get it. I mean, I still don't own a Michael Jordan rookie card, so I guess one day I'll get it. Let's see, nostalgia, and for the period of time you could get that in stores while sports cards were sold out. Now they sell out just as quick. There you go. So I was going to say this is the part of the show because I think we're about to close in about 15 minutes or so. We'll probably answer some questions for you guys. But I was going to say, if you want to show some cool cards, because that's what people want to see, show some cards, man. You don't show
Man,
no
you know
card?
what? I pulled a nice Charizard yesterday out of a hidden fate tin. That's worth about $500, man. And it's worth about 2,000 graded, man. But it was centered as heck. We'll see what it gets back from BGS. It's centered on a 5-day on Monday.
Well, I literally just got in my PSA order in a day, so I figure I'll show you a couple pieces that I got in today, and one of them is a third year LeBron James BGS 9. Look at that. I got two
That's
of
a
them. I was
hard grade too.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even realize how much they sell for until I looked it up. So I have two of them, and I have a BGS 8 too, and also let's see, I got end up getting two PSA 10 Trey second year silvers, which these actually do really well if you know what's going on in the market. And then I know you want to see this, so I'll just show it to you. There you go.
Oh man, I need that for my set, man. See, I
Wait.
got into a point right there where I just start, that's one of those. I like the way it looks, so I'm just gonna put together the set, man. And I actually almost have the whole set. And I could go out and buy that card, man. I could go out and buy it and be done with it, man. But
It's shiny.
I don't want to spend $900 on that card.
I think it resells for about $200 is what I saw. About $200, 200 to 250 is what I saw it sold for. And actually, I didn't know this card right here does as well as it does. This is the Revolution Ja Morant PSA 10. I pulled this out of a box.
It's hard. It's hard to grade them cards, man. I don't know how many Revolution cards that I went through trying to see if I could find a nice one. They're so hard to grade.
Well, there you go. PSA 10 Ja Morant, and then last but not least, I just showed you, picked up a little pile. Sekou, anybody Sekou fans out there? Rookie script. It's probably one of the last few boxes I opened up of Mosaic, and I graded a few.
Yeah,
it came back okay. So.
There you go. Guy actually, one of my good friends at Carbon Breaks, Fidel, he sent me this card right here to grade for him, man.
Look at that.
Tua, right? Tua, nice Tua patch, right? That's from his last name. It looks like it, the O, and it's out of 10, man. Nice little sweet little card he sent me.
Very sick, man. Very sick. All right, guys. So I think we're about that time. I think next week, I don't know what we're going to talk about next week on Wednesday. I know I have a show to go to this weekend. I'll be in Spartanburg, South Carolina. If you guys are in the area, feel free to chop it up. Send me some messages. And anybody that's on Facebook, Twitter, or this podcast, feel free, follow me on all these platforms. Shout out my boy Kobe Collector right quick. If you go ahead and tell me your platforms, feel free.
That's it. Just follow me on Instagram, Kobe_collector_81.
You got it.
And
you got it.
I tag you, you tag me, so they'll be able to find us.
That's right. So we're not hard to find. Next weekend, we're going to be at the Dallas National Show. It's about 400. We're probably going to do a live podcast for you guys. Show you what's going on in Dallas. Introduce you to a few people in the hobby. Not 100% sure how the show is going to go because we're kind of like spitballing it. I don't know if we're going to just kind of like talk about anything specific or just talk about the show and in general. But either way, we're going to be there live for you guys on that weekend. So it's going to be a special show. It's going to be outside of the Wednesday show. We're probably going to do maybe Saturday in the middle of the day sometime. We'll probably set some time for you guys, 30 minutes to an hour, something like that, just to sit here and talk cards with you guys and talk about the hobby. It's probably the last big show of the year. It's 400 tables. If you're not in Dallas, man, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like you might miss out. I know a lot of big dogs going to be in Dallas. So if you want to sell something, you want to buy something, you better be in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely, man. We're going to have a little bit of fun there. That's for sure. I have a couple Pokemon cards to show you.
Right, man. So, all right. So, with that being said, if you guys don't have any questions for us, if you can't reach us on here, feel free to DM us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, any of the platforms that we'll be on. My boy Kobe Collector 81. We pretty nice people. So at the end of the day, just hit us up. Shout out to 4 people who actually watched us on the live. We appreciate you guys. Oh, we did get up. Okay, we got up to 5 people. I don't know if there's people dipping and dabbling, coming and out, but coming in and out, but we appreciate you guys. We're gonna have some nice merch for sale at the show. We're gonna probably have some t-shirts, some stickers. I haven't really figured out the whole shebang yet, but we'll figure it out and I'll announce it on the page. But as we continue to grow, we'll make things better, and you guys are going to help us make things better. And this is Prism God TV. I'm sorry, not Prism God TV. This is Prism God Podcast.
Yeah, there you go. Hey,
There you,
peace.
There you go. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.